redshirt senior out of Raleigh, North Carolina, is going to be in the circle to start this game. Michelle, she's 6-0, and she was the winning pitcher Friday with 3 innings of relief.
Well, she's going to mix the ball around. She's got a lot of experience. She was the ace pitcher at Campbell before transferring over to Oklahoma. Very composed in the circle. She does a good job of limiting those free passes, and that's part of the reason why that ERA is sub-1.
And here's the batting order for the South Carolina Gamecocks. 20-1 under Ashley Chastain Woodard, the first-year head coach. And Quincy Lelio. It's got to be an unusual weekend for Quincy. Yeah. She is ready to lead off, of course, the Oklahoma transfer. She
is a national championship, has a national championship ring with Oklahoma, and you know the emotions have just got to be flying here at Clay.
Oh, no doubt about it. The first pitch sails a little high there on the Smith hand. We're underway. It's breezy, but there's some sunshine today, and that certainly wasn't the case yesterday as rain wiped out game 2, so a doubleheader today. Pitch is also high, 2-0.
Lelio, you know that game 1 was a little tough for her. She was 0 for 4, probably trying to do too much, prove too much. First time being back here in Norman, playing against her former teammates.
And Smith falls behind Lelio. 3 balls and no strikes. Lelio came into this weekend leading the country with a .583 batting average. That 0 for 4 on Friday took it down a notch.
Well, this is one of the things Lelio already making some adjustments, being a lot more patient in this first at-bat of game 2.
3-1 pitch. And now full counter. Smith battles back.
Smith is going to nibble at the corner. She's not going to blow it past you. Try to use that strong defense that Oklahoma typically has.
The 3-2 pitch is line foul. So South Carolina, number 10 in the country with the 20-1 record coming into the day. Best start since 1976. And, you know, there weren't a lot of people talking about South Carolina prior to the season.
No, if they were saying they're probably going to come in last in the SEC. And then look at this. They're a top 10 team.
Again, the payoff pitch, and that's pushed into left field. So Quincy Lelio against her former team has her first hit of the weekend, and the table is set here in the first inning for South Carolina. So, Michelle, you've seen a lot of Isabella Smith, and what do you think?
Yeah, she's really consistent. She's going to be in the mid-60s. She's got a very good changeup, so you're going to see her use that a lot. And an array of pitches. She's going to move the ball up and down, in and out, and mix the speeds, and you're going to see that. You're going to see a lot of South Carolina trying to figure out the velocity differentials, fouling off balls, very hard to the pool side.
She's facing Carly Shelton now, sophomore second baseman out of Lexington, South Carolina. 1 for 4 with a couple of runs batted in the game on Friday. Comebacker, past the pitcher. This could be 2. They tag Lelio for the force out, but they can't get Shelton. So Oklahoma's able to get 1 out.
Looked like it potentially could have been a double play, but I like the way that Lelio ran that. Making herself a tough out so that Oklahoma could not turn the double play.
That'll bring up Ariana Rhodey, one of the top transfers in the country. That's strike 1. The junior out of Cranston, Rhode Island, playing first base again today, was 1 for 4 on Friday night. The reigning co-player of the week in the SEC.
Well,
she is one of the many transfers from Charlotte that came along with head coach Ashley Chastain Woodard.
Yeah, it's a big get for South Carolina. Nice hire. Brought in a lot of really good athletes from a very good Charlotte program.
Smith rocks and fires. Check swing by Rhodey up against the protective net. 1 out here, top of the first inning. We saw a lot of fireworks on Friday night. 19 total runs. Just wonder here what we're going to get in game 2, especially after a 24-hour layoff on foul back.
24 hours for the coaches to really dissect the game 1 and figure out how they need to pitch certain players. But I thought it was interesting here to start with Isabella Smith getting the ball again in the circle. She was very good in relief in that game 1.
Shelton at first base, 1 out. This one skied to left in foul ground, and it's going to drift out of play. Smith, 3 runs, 1 hit, 4 walks, and 1 strikeout. So she was kind of nibbling a little bit and was walking some hitters, but she worked around it a little bit at times.
100%. It really, when you look at that line, it's just the 4 walks that stand out. She gave up that home run late in the game.
Called strike 3, clips the outside corner. Rhodey didn't like it. She'll walk back to the dugout. There'll be 2 down for Ella Chansey. So the first strikeout for Isabella Smith.
Nibbling that corner, as you mentioned, Clay.
So here is Ella Chansey. 1 for 2 with a couple of runs scored Friday. Senior out of Athens, Georgia. Loves Field in Norman, Oklahoma. Opening weekend of SEC softball and the first ever SEC weekend for the 4-time defending national champs, the Oklahoma Sooners, hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks. These teams came into the weekend the only undefeated teams remaining in the country. Oklahoma won 10-9 on Friday night, rain out yesterday, a doubleheader today, and we're in the top of the first inning. South Carolina has a base runner with 2 outs. She's Michelle Smith. I'm Clay Matvick. A lot of runs scored on Friday. We'll see what happens here today.
Yeah, both of these teams have very powerful offenses, top 10 in a lot of different categories, so they can definitely swing that barrel and do some damage.
This one is hit well down the line off the bat of Ella Chansey, the cleanup hitter for the Gamecocks, but well fouled. And again, there were a lot of home runs on Friday night. 3 for Oklahoma, 1 for South Carolina.
Yeah, and the South Carolina team, they've got a great on-base percentage, doubles. They lead the country in doubles, runs scored, top 10 as well. So this is a team that knows how to put some big runs up on the board, and did so last weekend when they swept Duke.
Payoff pitch just outside from Isabella Smith. And so 2 on, 2 out, and Brooke Blankenship will come to the plate. Isabella Smith had her strikeout earlier here in the inning, got Ariana Rhodey on a called strike 3, was looking for the same thing there against Chansey. But it's her first free pass given up, and now Blankenship. Blankenship, senior shortstop out of Hudson, Florida. 1 for 2 with a couple of walks in the ballgame on Friday night. Gamecocks threatening here in the top of the first inning. Strike.
It's a nice pitch by Smith, really working that curveball on the outer half. Does a good job of mixing speeds and gets up 0-2 early.
That 0-2 pitch hit in the air, and this one is going to get out of play. For those who just joined us, Isabella Smith, Michelle, 6-0 with an ERA under 1. Winning pitcher Friday. She came on in relief, pitched 3 solid innings to get that victory. Yeah,
really a great line coming in relief. 4 walks. She's going to try and limit those free passes today, but look at that ERA sub-1 as you talked about. And the reason she's got the sub-1 ERA is because she's got a whip of just 0.73, so she does not allow a lot of hits or walks per innings pitched, and when you do that, it's really tough to score. 2 on, 2 out. The 0-2 pitch from Smith to Chansey.
Line drive into right field, and that's going to get down for a single. Good throw from right field. Cassidy Pickerding, who has a really strong arm, got it to home plate quickly. And the bases will be loaded.
Now, this is a ball that's just located a little bit up in the zone, and a really good job by Blankenship to take that the opposite way. A little bit of a mistake by Smith on an 0-2 pitch. Needs to be out of the zone a little bit more, but how about the rocket from Pickering in right field, making sure that Carolina doesn't get on the board.
This is Lexi Winters now. Winters 3 for 3 with a homer and 5 runs batted in. On Friday night, a 3-run shot in the top of the 7th that pulled Carolina within a run at the time.
Yeah, if you're a Carolina fan, this is who you want up.
Tried to hold up. And it's a strike. This is Friday night. And at this point, it looked like Carolina was ready for a comeback.
Yeah, she just smoked that ball.
That was her 4th home run of the year. One of the 6 transfers from Charlotte. Pitch inside. Ashley Chastain Woodard, former Gamecock pitcher, spent the last 5 years at Charlotte, brought 6 players and a couple of coaches with her, and it has made an immediate impact on the program. Off-speed pitch, fouled straight back.
Good job by Winters to sit on that pitch, get rid of it. You know you're going to get a healthy dose of velocity mix and change from Smith in that circle.
South Carolina was 0 for 3 with the bases loaded on Friday night. Winters trying to deliver. Just off the plate, the home plate umpire, Matt Dial, saying that was out of the strike zone. Isabella Smith was looking for the strikeout.
And the crowd here wanting that pitch. Just off the plate, it's tough to let those go, but that's a good look there by Winters.
Shelton at third, Chansey at second, Blankenship at first, and another foul ball. Lexi Winters was the American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year last year. Talked about her ability to knock it out of the ballpark. Had a home run at Duke last week in that big series sweep. 2-2 pitch. Nubbed out to the pitcher, Isabella Smith, and she's going to get out of the inning. South Carolina loads them up in the top of the first, but they come up empty. And now we'll see how the Sooners do in the first.
In the top 25. You talk about parity all the way around. I think there's obviously a lot of parity throughout the entire country, obviously in the Big 12 as well, the ACC, but the SEC, there is no place to hide. The Gamecocks, they were picked to come in last, and after a massive sweep last week against Duke, this South Carolina team finds themselves in the top 10. First loss given to them by the hands of Oklahoma on Friday.
Well, that's a rough start for Jory Hurd, the junior right-hander. That pitch rides in on Abigail Dayton, the junior left fielder. And so the first base runner of the day for the Sooners.
Jory Hurd is a really good junior pitcher. Had the ball in game 1 and just has a lot of tools to be able to work things and work pitches around the circle. Got to limit those free passes, the base on balls, and the hit by pitch.
This is Ella Parker, the designated player for the Sooners. 0 for 2, a couple of walks and a run scored on Friday, but the LA native having a terrific sophomore campaign so far. That's off the glove of Lexi Winters. Back to the screen, and Dayton now to second base. So a runner in scoring position here for Parker, who's hitting .554 coming in. Second in the SEC in hitting. Also has 12 doubles, among the most in the nation. Hit on the ground to first. Gobbled up by Rohde, and Ariana Rohde will step on the bag for the first out. Dayton to third. And that'll bring up Cassidy Pickering. So the Oklahoma lineup, pretty similar to what we've been seeing here, maybe with the exception of Hannah Core, who is coming back from injury in the 9 spot. But Isabella Emmerling on Friday, not one but 2 big home runs, both 2-run shots.
Yeah, this is a team that can score in a hurry. They press you on all parts of the game, so they can really do a good job of getting on base. Their on-base percentage top 10, but it's that ability to move runners, productive outs, and then plate runs.
Here's Pickering now, the right fielder for the Sooners. Out to a great start in her sophomore year. 2 for 2 with a couple of doubles, 2 walks, and a run scored Friday. Her batting average is at .400 with 7 homers and 27 runs batted in.
Just so much power.
Hit sharply down the line, but foul outside at first. Pickering hit 3 homers last Saturday, 2 against Kansas, had 1 against Marshall, and an 8th inning walk-off 3-run homer to beat Bowling Green a couple of weeks ago. You talked about her power, and we've certainly seen that in spades here in the early part of the season. That's outside. 2-2.
Well, Parker and Pickering in the 2 and 3 hole for Oklahoma. Freshmen last year that were just outstanding, have continued that role right into their sophomore year. It's great leaders.
1 out. That's outside now, full count.
Well, they just do a really good job of getting themselves into leverage counts, and even when they are behind, they know that they hit well with 2 strikes. They have that confidence.
Pitch from Jory Hurd, missed, and out runners at the corners. First free pass allowed by Hurd. Only her 12th walk allowed this year.
Well, and Hurd is going to be able to mix a lot of pitches. Screwball in the inner half, and then a changeup about 54 miles on the outer half. It's a flip changeup, so it's going to rotate in the opposite direction that it's moving, so it's hard to see. It really messes with your vision as a hitter.
First pitch swinging McEnroe Marinas. Cleanup bat for Oklahoma.
And so Hurd will move the ball in the corner. Screwball in the inner half, curveball. It's actually what they like to call a 2-seam fastball in the outer half. She can touch 70 miles an hour. She mixes those speeds, but a lot of good late sharp movement.
Fly ball toward the line, right field. Abigail Knight reaching over the railing, can't make the catch. What an effort by Knight. That was going to be a terrific play if she could have held on, but it pops out of the glove.
Well, Clay, she had a long way to go to try to catch that, and that ball kept drifting. As a right-handed hitter, you know when you're going the opposite way, that ball's going to continue to tail to the line or away from you. As a fielder, you got to keep running through it, and she's not fazed by that wall. Really good effort.
So 0-2 to McEnroe Marinas, and now she levels one to left. Goodbye home run, no doubt about it. 3-run shot here in the first by Nellie McEnroe Marinas. Her 4th of the year, and the Sooners make a statement in the first inning.
Wow. And Nellie just gets all into that ball. You can hear it off the bat, Clay. Just the sound of that contact, ball to bat. You knew it was no doubt it was going out of the yard. Really good job of spraying the ball around, and it's a pitch up in the upper part of the zone. And look at the way she just elevates it. Hits the bottom half of the ball and just drives that out of the yard. You could just hear it immediately. We always say it, elevate to celebrate, and she does just that.
Redshirt freshman from Hawaii, who's played really well at third base and has been a big part of this offense for Oklahoma. And now how big is that opportunity down the right field line that Knight couldn't make the catch? You could have
100%.
retired McEnroe Marinas, but instead she hits a 3-run bomb. And now here's Gabby Garcia trying to get on with a bunt. That's going to be foul. Garcia, in game 1 of this series, went 2 for 4 with an opposite field 3-run homer. And she has homered, Michelle, in 4 straight games. There's so many hot hitters right now for the Sooners, but nobody hotter than the Oklahoma shortstop.
Yeah, Garcia just sprays the ball well. That home run on Friday was opposite. Wow.
And she touches one off again. Goodbye. Home run. 5 straight games with a blast.
This is an Oklahoma team that lost a lot of big names last year, a lot of power. Patty Gasso even said, she's like, we don't have as much power as last year. I don't know. I think I need to talk with Patty about that. I think they have just as much power. Garcia going down and getting that ball, just great eye-hand contact, coordination, gets that ball out of the yard on time, just very fluid. She knows it immediately. Back-to-back home runs for the Sooners. They're up 4-0. But back to the point about Patty saying we don't quite have the power in the past. They actually have more home runs.
Oh, mercy. As you say that, Sydney Sanders puts one into the batter's eye.
Clay, I can't even get it out. They're hitting their home runs back-to-back-to-back jacks by the Sooners. This is a team that actually had, at this time last year, more home runs this year than a senior-ridden team that had so much power. So the names are different. The bats are just as explosive for the seniors.
Oklahoma coming into the game, 42 home runs on the year, tied for 3rd in the nation. They have hit 3 straight. That's 45 on the year now, as South Carolina's trying to get somebody loose, as Jory Hurd has run into some Oklahoma bats.
Well, they know what they're looking for. They saw Hurd in game 1, so they know what they're going up against and what they're hunting.
Sydney Sanders, the only returning senior for the Sooners, was 0 for 3 with a walk on Friday. She hits her 6th home run of the year on the first pitch, just moments after Gabby Garcia left the yard. You can see that the Sooners at least 1 homer in 20 of their 21 games. And it's the first time this year they've gone back-to-back-to-back. So a short day for Jory Hurd. Pitching change. Audrey Lowry will try and slow down Oklahoma. So a pitching change for South Carolina, as Oklahoma has scored 5 here in the first. Neely Lamb is going to come on in relief. Sophomore right-hander who's 5-0 on the year for the Gamecocks.
Well, she's going to need to just try to get the atmosphere back in the Gamecocks' favor. I know it's hard to do here at Lutz Field, but she's a big presence in the circle. Limits the free passes, tries to roll a lot of ground balls.
First hitter she's going to face is a Lana Agbayani. Agbayani having a good series. The Hawaiian went 3 for 3 with a double, a walk, and 3 runs scored on Friday. Junior second baseman takes a strike, 1-1. You see the numbers on Agbayani.
Agbayani, just a lot of talent, really good defensively at second base, just swings a mean bat.
There's a strike from Lamb. And this is a difficult situation for Lamb. You know, you come in and all the energy has been sucked out of your dugout. You're just trying to get the team off the field.
Yeah, it's it's the bottom of the first inning. There's a lot of game left. This is a South Carolina team that went down against Duke last weekend 5-0 and came back, fought back to win that game. This is different environment for him, but Neely coming in with the strikeout is really big, and she's got that good backspin in the upper part of the zone. She does have a very good changeup to create a lot of different velocity and speed differentials, but really the key is that she's going to have to try and miss some barrels, and it's tough to do because this Oklahoma team just really knows how to swing it.
So Agbayani goes down and strikes, 2 down, and Isabella Emmerling, who had 2 homers in game 1 of the series, comes up for the first time. North Carolina transfer who has made an immediate impact on this roster. She has 11 runs batted in the last 2 games. Neely Lamb on in relief here in the first inning for South Carolina. Tall right-hander rocks, fires, lined out to left. And Emily Vincent comes over toward the gap and makes the catch for the 3rd out. So Lamb does a nice job to get South Carolina back in the dugout. But what an inning for the Oklahoma Sooners. Not 1, not 2, but 3 homers.
Wow. McMarinas gets it started with a 3-run shot. She just tattoos that ball out of the yard. Garcia coming up with a solo shot, and Sid Sanders back-to-back jacks for the Sooners.
There's Patty Gasso, 31 years as head coach. She likes what she's seeing here so far, as Oklahoma puts up 5 in the bottom of the first inning. You know, she was telling you and I this week, Michelle, that she doesn't really like winning by the run rule, which they have done 12 times this season. She was excited about this weekend, thinking that her team was going to be challenged, and they certainly were on Friday night. But after this first inning, maybe they're on pace for another run rule win.
Well, this is an Oklahoma team that adjusts very quickly, and then you have the day off because of the rain yesterday. It gives them even more time to study film, to know what they're going to be going up against, and that's why they're tough to beat.
Look at this. Abigail Knight hits it high and deep to left. Goodbye. Home run. Abigail Knight leading it off for the Gamecocks in the 2nd inning. And don't start thinking run rule just yet, because South Carolina is spunky, and they're on the board.
Well, and South Carolina loaded the bases in the top of the 1st, weren't able to push any runs across. Knight with a leadoff solo shot here in the 2nd inning. And this is what you want. You want response. She's going to go get that pitch on the outer half. Really good job of staying back, barreling that up. The ball flies very well here out of Love's Field. And so the Gamecocks get up on the board, trying to scratch away at that 5-run spot that Oklahoma put up on the board in the bottom of the 1st.
Abigail Knight, the 6th-year senior, with her 2nd home run of the year. 2nd home run of the weekend for South Carolina. And now here's the designated player, Natalie Heath. Hard-hitting junior, went 0 for 4 Friday. Played in only 6 total games her first 3 years in South Carolina, but has embraced this DP role.
Yeah, and it's important for athletes to be able to embrace that role, because if you're used to being on the field defensively and now you're spending that defensive time in the dugout, you have to mentally prepare yourself. And it's interesting, Clay, we'll go back to the conversation about Coach Gasso and run rules, and the home runs keep getting in the way of our conversations. We start on
They sure do.
but it is important at times to be able to play a full 7 innings, to be competitive, to know what it's like to have to defend the bottom of the 7th or have to come back at a certain point in the game.
Another one hit hard.
Boom.
And
Wow.
out. Holy mercy. This is unbelievable. Natalie Heath with a line drive home run.
Well, we mentioned it earlier in the 1st inning. This is exactly what happened to the South Carolina team last weekend against Duke. Duke put a 5-spot up against them in game 3 of that series, and South Carolina just kept battling back, used the long ball. They got back in that game. This is a powerful team. They are top 10 in the country in a lot of different categories, as are the Sooners. Very good job of just staying back, barreling up that ball, and you can just tell that it is a very crisp day here in Norman, Oklahoma, and the ball is flying out of the yard.
5 home runs combined today. There were 4 on Friday night. And this one is hit on the screws to left, but right into the glove of Abigail Dayton, who charges in to retire the number 9 hitter, Emily Vincent, for the first out of the inning. Yeah, and everything is hit hard. So Isabella Smith gets the first out. And back to the top of the order for South Carolina, Quincy Lelio, the former Oklahoma Sooner. Singled her first time up, tries to bunt her way aboard. We talked about Lelio Michelle winning those 3 national titles with the Sooners. Played in a lot of games the last couple of years, but only made 12 starts, and she wanted a chance to start every day. And you and I were talking with Patty Gasso before the game. Very happy for Q, as she calls it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Coach Gasso knows she's got a lot of talent. It's hard to get everybody the amount of playing time they want, and so sometimes some of the players do transfer out and go on and have success at other programs.
Katie Browder, who is Patty Gasso's friend over there in the third base coach's box. The Gamecocks, kind of the offensive coordinator for South Carolina. Had a lot to work with when getting Q, but she looks at strike 3 here.
Doing a good job of moving the ball around the zone, and so Q looks at a pitch on the outer half. I think Q thinks this is off the corner, but it's got a little bit of out movement on it. Screwball looks like it's running away. Got to protect, and you've got those 2 strikes.
Only the second time that Lelio has gone down on strikes this season. Carly Shelton reached in a fielder's choice, was stranded at third in the top of the first inning. And that rides in and hits her. So a 2-out base runner for South Carolina. That'll bring up Ariana Rhodey. There's Browder, who has done a really good job with the South Carolina offense. And now Oklahoma pitching coach Jen Rocha is going to make a trip to the circle.
Yeah, I think she's probably going to talk to Isabella Smith and just try to calm her down a little bit. That first home run that she gave up to Abigail Knight, that was an 0-2 pitch. That's a big mistake. You never want to give up any hit, more or less a home run on an 0-2 pitch. And then Heath as well. That was she was ahead on with her as well, 0-1. So probably just talking about, you know, consistently trying to mix those speeds, work the corners, and when you're ahead, don't feel like you have to throw every pitch as a strike. If you get that mentality as a pitcher, sometimes you're too much around the zone. If you're too much around the zone, it's easy for hitters to kind of lay into the ball.
She's in her 7th season as pitching coach. Former Sooner, of course. Patty Gasso says she's one of the best.
Oh, yeah. She said best pitching coach in the country. And I agree. Jen Rocha just has the ability to really work with pitchers, get the best out of them. But the other aspect of being a pitching coach is then also calling the pitches in the game, understanding the weaknesses of the hitters, and really just, you know, trying to get outs. 21 of them in a game. You got to try to get them as quick as possible, as efficiently as possible.
Rhodey went down looking for the second out of the first inning. The 0-1 pitch pounded into the ground, backhanded by the third baseman McEnroe Marinas. She's able to keep it from going into the outfield, but 2 on now here, and that's going to be an infield hit for Rhodey as Chansey will get a chance.
I think I think McEnroe Marinas was not sure if that was a fair ball or not, and I think that's what Patty is questioning. I don't think they're going to ask for a review on it, but I think that's still a play that Nelly can make over there at third base.
Ella Chansey 0 for 1 with a walk, popped up. Chance for South Carolina to get out of the inning, and what a play. McEnroe Marinas comes in and ends the inning. So she wasn't able to get the out moments ago, but she does here to retire the side.
Wow. And that is a huge get. When Rhodey is up, you know she could be a game changer, especially with a couple of runners on base. But McEnroe Marinas, her catcher falls down, but she stays attention, makes the catch. Sooners out of the jam. important those 1 seeds are in women's basketball. I don't know. Some people say they have to win today against Texas to get it. I don't know.
I think they're in as the 1 seed. Hannah Core to lead it off for Oklahoma. The Sooners got 5 in the first inning, 3 home runs, back to back from McEnroe, Marinas, Garcia, and Sanders. South Carolina hit 2 of their own in the top of the second. So it's a 5-2 ball game. Game 2 of this series. Oklahoma won a shootout Friday night, 10-9. Yesterday, it rained here all day, so we're playing 2 today, and this is the first of a doubleheader. Hannah Core, the number 9 hitter for the Sooners. She nubs this one foul. Good to see Hannah Core back to complete health. I know Sooners fans are delighted. She had a bad ankle, and it was suffered second game of the season, missed 16 games, and this is just her 4th game back.
Yeah, she's a tough kid. She's had a couple of back injuries and surgeries that she's battled through to come back, and then that really bad ankle injury. So it's really nice to see her out in the outfield and swinging that bat. It's a lot of fun to watch. She's an OC bat buster from Orange County. I was with quite a few of her teammates.
Yorba Linda.
That's right. Plays for that great program. A lot of Sooners come through the Bat Busters program with Mike Smith, who is a great manager and coach. It's a really nice facility out there, and those kids, they know how to train. Let's put it that way. They get a lot of education at an early age to get them Division I ready.
2 strikes to Hannah Core. And Neely Lamb, who came on in relief last inning, delivers, and another one fouled off. Neely Lamb, you talked about it, Michelle, the transfer from Charleston Southern and coming off a really historic season in the Big South. League Freshman of the Year, Pitcher of the Year, first team All-Conference. There really wasn't an award she didn't win.
This shows the amount of talent that she has and opportunity here. And that's where I think Lamb can be successful, because she's going to work down in the zone, but she's got really good upspin and has caught a couple of the Sooners swinging at pitches out of the zone because they've been looking low. So this is a rise ball in the upper part of the zone. She hasn't really shown it until with those 2 strikes, she gets to take the Sooners up the ladder on that. And that's going to be a big part of it. That's almost why I wonder why we had not seen her until at this point in the game. Maybe worried that upspin, the Sooners could take advantage of it, right? This is a home run hitting park.
So after her 2nd strikeout since coming out in relief, facing the top of the order for the first time, this is Abigail Dayton, who was hit by a pitch to start the game for Oklahoma. Swung on and missed, a ball and a strike. Dayton, the left-handed hitting transfer from Utah, a really good table setter. Has a team high 10 stolen bases to go along with those numbers.
Out of speed, has a lot of different tools.
Swung on and missed, a ball and 2 strikes. Would you say, Michelle, that this is an Oklahoma team that maybe has more speed than Patty Gassos had in some time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that she's using it a little differently this year. More and runs, so we like to say button run, hit and run. Obviously, the power has awoken the last couple weekends. The Sooner team had 17 home runs, I think it was last weekend, really exploding onto the power stage, I guess you could say. Obviously, here against South Carolina, 3 big home runs in game 1. Obviously, the 3 home runs in the first inning of this game. So this Sooner team can score bunches of runs many different ways.
1-2, back up the middle, bounding ball into center field. Abigail Dayton.
And that's her first hit of the series, and that is typical Abigail Dayton type of hitting right there. 100 hopper right back up the middle, and now that speed is on base.
Well, that is the first hit today for Oklahoma that's not a home run.
It's usually the other way around. 4 hits, 1 home run. Instead of 4 hits, 3 home runs.
now Ella Parker still looking for her first hit of the series. First Sooner to win SEC Player of the Week, and she did it 2 weeks in a row. First year in the SEC for this storied program. And first weekend of SEC play. Trying to stay unbeaten. And, you know, with all the new players, and especially the younger players that come into a program like this, you know, there's already some pressure because of the expectations surrounding this program, but now you're unbeaten this deep into the season to boot.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, there's a pressure just to walk into the stadium and you see those national championships, not to mention the 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back. You know, thinking, all right, well, we got to continue the streak. But the thing that you noticed about being here at Loves Field is just before the game, how relaxed the team was. We were talking with Coach Gasso and getting a little bit of a tour of the facility.
On the hands, push foul.
And the team was just so relaxed, hanging out in the clubhouse, and they play relaxed, and that's part of the game, right? You know, the umpire to start the game always says play ball, not work ball, right? Not stress out ball, but play ball. Have fun.
That's a good point. Look at those numbers. They've lost just 15 games during that 4-year national title run. That will put some pressure on you, especially if you're a freshman. Check swing. Nice block there by Lexi Winters as Dayton stays put at first base.
Well, the thing that Oklahoma and Patty Gasso have done very well, and her son JT Gasso is really the mastermind behind the offense over the last 5, 6, 7 years, is that their offense puts up big runs, so that helps take pressure off of the pitchers and obviously off of the defense.
2-2 from Lamb, hit on the ground to second for 1, to first, not in time. Almost had the inning-ending double play that Neely Lamb and that South Carolina defense was looking for.
Yeah, that's a really good play defensively for South Carolina. Shouting over to Blankenship. Really good turn over there at second. Blankenship with a nice throw over to Rhodey at first. But I'll tell you what, Ella Parker gets down the line very, very fast. She's from that left-handed batter's box, which also gives her a little bit of an advantage. But Parker runs very well on the year. 8 for 8 in stolen bases.
That'll bring up Pickering, who walked in the first and then scored on the 3-run homer by McEnroe Marinas. We were talking about those newcomers and who they might be looking to this year, especially because that great senior class graduated. Yeah. I think, it's safe to say that Pickering, even though a sophomore, is one of those players who has taken on a leadership role.
100%. Pickering, Parker, both of them as sophomores have just been outstanding. A lot of times as sophomores, people say the sophomore slump or everybody knows you now, but both of these athletes, they have just done a really good job of, staying within who they are. They know that they're going to be picked apart, but, Pickering, just a lot of talent, covers the plate very, very well, as does Parker. And they're just a great 1-2 punch in the order, for Patty Gasso.
5-run first inning for Oklahoma. And now we're going to get a meeting in the middle of the infield for South Carolina. With a runner on and 2 outs.
I got something about Lamb's landing leg. Trainer came out to see her.
Neely Lamb, great connection with the pitching coach, Zach Parsons, who was hired away from Murray State back in August. And, Lamb will tell you that a lot of the success that she's had here in the early part of the season, she attributes to, the connection that she's had with Zach.
Yeah, Zach has done a really good job of helping her work on the corners, work her spins, her speed. Obviously, doing a great job of getting that velocity up. Good look at Zach. Really learning the art of pitching. Not just throwing, not just getting in that circle and just throwing the ball across the plate, but really learning to bend the ball.
Runner on 2 outs. 2-2 pitch to Cassidy Pickering. Checked her swing. Did she go? No. Home plate umpire Matt Dial saying she held up. So a full count and a big pitch coming up here for Lamb.
Great job by Pickering to fire that lower half but hold the hands.
Couple of hits on the weekend for Pickering. Swung on and missed, and Lamb pulls off the mask and hops out of the circle, excited to get out of that little situation. Ashley Chastain-Woodard, the South Carolina head coach. We're going to talk to the new BenchBot first-year head coach, a South Carolina alum.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, she had a really good thing going in Charlotte. Won a lot of ball games with the 49ers. Her husband, Robert, still the head baseball coach there. It was going to take a lot for her to leave that program, which she really established. Took them to their first 2 national tournaments. But this was the place she wanted to come, South Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when you're an alum and you come back home to coach the program that you went through, I just think it adds that extra flavor. I think recruits, when they come in, they understand that. They want to be a part of that family. And there, she's just immediately turned this program around. But former coach Beverly Smith had a very good program there. Just, you know, had a lot of great seasons with the Gamecocks. And it's exciting for this program.
Brooke Blankenship up the middle, but backhanded by Agbayani. Throws to first base to retire Blankenship.
Well, a couple of errors in game 1 and uncharacteristic for a Sooner defense. And this is what we typically get from the Sooners. Agbayani going up the middle. Look at the way she slides to her knee. She's going to make that turn. And this is a really, really good job of being able to throw with some power from your knees across your body to get that big first out of the inning.
Yeah, Oklahoma entered the weekend 4th in the country in fielding with just 6 errors, but kicked it around 3 times Friday. And Patty Gasso was scratching her head a little bit, but that's more of what we've come to expect.
100%. And you know, Clay, Coach did tell us before the game, she's like, you know, our team is still getting used to playing here at Love's Field. This is only the 2nd year of existence of the stadium, and it's a big field, and at times it can be intimidating, even when it's your own home field. So a lot of adjustments going on. But you're right. I mean, Agbayani with that play, that's typically what we see from a Oklahoma infield. Patty Gasso herself was a very good fielding ball player, and she knows how important defense is. And there's a good look. Just 6 errors in her first 19 games as opposed to 3 in game 1 against South Carolina.
2 strikes to Lexi Winters. And this is down from Isabella Smith. Lexi Winters, one of those former Charlotte 49ers. She was a South Carolina bat girl growing up, and now getting a chance to play for the team that she cheered long ago.
I love that.
There's Lexi on the left. and also running the balls out to the umpire.
The smile there on the left is just awesome. Got the helmet on, bringing the balls out during the game. And
2014 doesn't seem that long ago.
No, it doesn't.
But for her, it's almost a lifetime ago. But Lexi Winters, we're in the garnet and black now. Native of Lexington, South Carolina. Just off the plate for Isabella Smith.
Nice curveball on the outer half. Trying to stretch the zone a little bit.
I think she's still trying to figure out Matt Dial's strike zone a little bit.
Yes.
Because she's wanted that pitch a couple of times today. Here she comes with the 2-2.
Goes right back out there. Tries to get Winters to fish at that, but she's not going to. Lexi Winters, being a catcher herself, she kind of knows the umpire's strike zone a little bit herself, saying, no, he hasn't been calling that pitch on the outer half. I'm going to let that go.
Payoff pitch. Hammered foul. Isabella Smith through a 5-inning perfect game in her first career start with the Sooners. Needed just 52 pitches to beat Cal Baptist 8-0. It's going to be a harder day today, no doubt. She knew it, facing these red-hot Gamecocks. Line drive down the line, and that's going to get into the corner. Good at bat for Lexi Winters, as she'll track into second base with a stand-up one-out double.
Well, if there's one thing the Gamecocks can do is they can't hit for power. A couple home runs in this game, and this double here by Winters, elevated pitch on the outer half. She's just able to get around it. Look at the way the front foot gets down. The hands are nice and steady. The eyes on the ball. She's going to punch this ball down into the corner. She's going to trot into second base. That is the 57th double of the year for the Gamecock team. It's tops in the country. This is a team that knows how to use the gaps and the lines.
And they can hit the home run, too, as we saw from Abigail Knight, her first time up. Hit a solo home run to lead off the second. As you look at the extra base numbers, 41% of their hits go for extra bases.
Yeah, that's when you know you're going to put a lot of runs up on the board. Typically, most teams, that extra base hit's going to be a little bit lower in the 20s. Anytime you're over 30%, it's pretty elite.
Nothing in 2 tonight. Knight started all 57 games last year for Chastain Woodard at Charlotte, primarily in left field. Gets the start in right field today. That's off the plate. South Carolina 4 for 12 in the series with runners in scoring position. Knight trying to help the Gamecocks continue to chip away after falling behind 5-0 in this game. Here's the 1-2. Now 2-2.
This is where South Carolina really needs to be efficient with their outs. When there's runners in scoring position, need to try to plate them. They've already left 5 runners on base, 3 in that first inning, left them loaded, 2 in that second inning.
To second, Agbayani. To first, gets the out. And over to third is Lexi Winters now with 2 down, and Natalie Heath will come up. She also homered in the second inning.
Well, that leadoff play by Agbayani to get Blankenship out is looming even larger, because that double would have definitely scored her had she gotten on base. If Agbayani wouldn't have made that play. So it's all those little things that the Sooners do so well that keep their opponents off the scoreboard.
Natalie Heath. They call her Big Bat Nat. We saw why in the second inning. Checked her swing here, and that's a called strike. Back in the second inning, right after Abigail Knight left the yard. South Carolina proved they weren't playing around either.
No, and that's right, exactly right. Big Bat Nat getting it done. Back-to-back jacks for the Gamecocks.
It's interesting, you know, it's a lineup that isn't stacked in a typical fashion. You've got a lot of power at the bottom of the lineup, and the cleanup hitter Chansey, more of a look to walk, look to slap the ball, gets on with a great eye, not necessarily driving the ball to the gaps or out of the park.
Well, and they haven't really moved their lineup around. I mean, it worked through the first 20 games. So Coach, Chastain Woodard said, "Well, we're not gonna change things. It's working. We're gonna keep it rolling." And even Lexi Winters had that big home run in that 6-hole in game 1, but she's still in that 6-hole. And there's something to be said for keeping that consistency throughout the lineup. The hitters know who's in front of them, who's behind them.
Heath battles back to even out the count. This will be pitch number 70 for Isabella Smith. Strike three on the inside corner. And the crowd here at Love's Field comes to its feet and gives Isabella Smith a hand as South Carolina is denied in the third.
Isabella Smith, curveball in the outer half, doesn't get the call, comes back inside with that screwball, picks up the big strikeout with the runner at third. This is an Oklahoma team that has power 1 through 9. Tough to pitch to.
First time since 2023 they've gone back-to-back-to-back. Some great names on this list. Lyons, Brito, Hansen. And it's 6 straight games now for the Sooners with 3 or more homers. And over that span, 20 bombs. And what did Patty Gasso say about her home run power this year? She thought it was going to drop off.
Yeah, she said we don't have as much power this year. I wrote that down specifically. I'm going to ask her that question when we interview her and be like, Coach, can you explain that comment? It has really emerged the last 2 weekends. I think the team's starting to really get comfortable, understand, find their identity, especially after losing so many players that they lost last year.
Off-speed pitch from Neely Lamb, who has looked really good since coming on in relief. You see the offensive numbers. And this season, no drop-off, really. You could argue that the batting average is down a touch, but
everything else,
the runs are up. So what difference does it make?
Well, and you could really say maybe the runs are up. I mean, she's got more speed than maybe she's had in the past, or is using the speed a little bit differently than how she has in the past.
Payoff pitch. McEnroe Marinas is going to loft this one foul right side. You can see that coach is wearing a pretty heavy winter jacket down there in the third base coach's box. In the sunshine, it's not too bad. In the shadows, it's a bit chilly. And of course, that's where the Oklahoma dugout is. It's in the shadows. South Carolina's got some sun on their shoulders.
Yeah, I like it to be like mid-60s. I'm a mid-60s, I think it's perfect weather for softball. So I think mid-50s here. It's a little chillier.
It's a good at bat for McEnroe Marinas. That 3-run homer she hit, her 4th of the year. And she has reached in 8 straight games now. Line drive, left field, up against the wall. Here comes the throw, sliding in with a double, McEnroe Marinas. What an at-bat. I mean, she saw a ton of pitches and then laces one off the base of the wall in left for a leadoff double in the third.
Yeah, the 9th pitch of the at-bat, she gets on the upper half. And, it's not a bad pitch. It's not like it's fat right down the middle. It is up, it is in. And she just gets around that ball, hammers it to the wall. In fact, hits it so hard that she's almost thrown out at second.
It's a 9-pitch at bat for McEnroe Marinas. So 6 total bases for the Oklahoma third baseman today. That brings up Garcia. Gabby Garcia, left-handed bat out of Chandler, Arizona, has more or less taken over at shortstop now. There was a bit of a platoon situation going on earlier in the season, but you get the sense now that Patty Gasso is settled on a starting shortstop.
Yeah. Doing a good job on both sides of the ball.
One of the 8 freshmen on the roster. It's really the hardest hit ball that Oklahoma's had against Lamb since she came on with 1 out in the first inning.
Yeah, Lamb's done a good job of mixing locations, varying those speeds. working the corners, and most importantly, trying to limit the free passes, because that's really what hurt in that first inning, is that hit batter, walk, and then a 3-run bomb. You know, the 2 home runs for South Carolina were solo shots, the 3-run shot, and then 2 solos for Oklahoma.
2-2 pitch. Hammered to second. Carly Shelton will throw out. Gabby Garcia over to third goes McEnroe Marinas. And there'll be 1 out for Sydney Sanders.
And a couple of good at-bats here. Seeing Lamb starting to get their timing down. Oklahoma does a good job of sharing information in the dugout so that they all know what they're looking for, even if they haven't faced a pitcher prior.
Sydney Sanders, 6 home runs on the year now after that shot in the first inning. And she's in probably the best playing condition of her career, according to the coaching staff.
Yeah, she does a good job at first base and has really worked hard this year, physically, mentally.
Now Lamb wants time.
I think there's always that little bit of sense of urgency. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm a senior, and you just start to dial things in a little bit more, make different decisions. These things, you know, spend a little bit of extra time in the cage or a little bit of extra time at the field, just knowing that those little extra efforts make a big difference. You can look at that last season, batting average around 240. This year it's just under 400.
Lamb's pitch back up the middle, played perfectly by Shelton as she was shaded behind the circle, is able to keep McEnroe Marinas at third and get the second out.
So this is actually really, really good positioning by South Carolina. Shelton is going to be way up the middle. Look at where she's at. She's almost right behind Lamb. And this ball, immediately when it's hit, looks like it's going to be a base hit back up the middle. But Shelton's right there. She gives enough of a sneak over to McEnroe Marinas that it keeps her at third, unable to score on that hard hit to second. Or up the middle, technically.
And really, since that 5-run first inning, South Carolina has weathered that storm and has really settled into some fine softball here over the last couple of innings. Now trying to get out of the third inning unscathed. Agbayani at the plate. Elena Agbayani, terrific acquisition out of the transfer portal. First team all Big 12 last year at BYU, hit .424 a season ago for the Cougars.
Yeah, she was a big get in the transfer portal. Comes from a great pedigree. Her dad played for the Yankees. And, for the Mets.
And Benny played 400 games in the majors. Scott, our producer, says most of those were with the Mets. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Big Mets fan.
The Mets. I misspoke and said the Yankees. I'm sure every Met fan wants to throw daggers at me.
Yeah, you better watch your back leaving here now.
Hey, I grew up cheering for both, okay? I was from New Jersey, and I just cheered for whoever was on TV. Yeah, but how cool is that? You know, have a dad who played for the Mets, and you know, it's just a big part of her career. You know, she's a great story being from Hawaii. She used to go to the airport and ride standby basically as much as she could just to come over to train with the Batbusters. So I was texting back and forth with Mike Sith a little bit about you know, some of his players, and he was saying, you know, that's the dedication, that she would fly all the way over from Hawaii to practice on the weekends and play with the team, and you know, just really to develop herself. And you know, she's a natural fit transferring over to this Sooner team who has quite a few of those Batbusters that enter into this program.
She was the Hawaii Gatorade Player of the Year her senior year of high school. Trying to deliver here for Oklahoma with 2 outs. Line drive, and that's just going to loop down for a hit into left field. RBI single for Elena Agbayani. And it's now 6-2 Sooners.
Agbayani is going to do just enough to get that ball to drop. Really battles in this at bat. And just barrels it up enough. A little bit of inside-out job, and is going to find the green. And with the runner on third, they're going to plate another run.
First run given up by Neely Lamb as Emmerling comes up for the second time. And she hits it a ton to left. Gone if it stays fair. Goodbye. No, hold on. Hold on. Now the umpire at home is going to say foul ball.
Yeah, at first it looked like he was
said
calling
home run
it.
at first.
Yeah.
He swung that index finger around, and it looked like a home run to begin with, but then Matt Dial changes his mind. It's a foul ball.
Wow, first pitch swing and just mashes this ball. And it's hit so high, it's really hard to tell. The foul poles are not high enough for some of these home runs. Let's see if we can, no.
And Patty Gasso is talking with the umpires. You know, she wants a review. You can see that. Matt Dial originally put up the finger and swung it around like it was a home run call, but then pulled up both arms and said, no, hold on a second, that's foul. So there was some confusion, naturally. So we're waiting here for a potential announcement from the home plate umpire here, it looks like. Well, this could be a very big
Yeah, it's tough from any it's tough from any angle because the home run shots are so high nowadays that the foul pole, they're 40-50 feet over the foul pole. So now they're probably just trying to look to see what type of angle they have. They almost need lasers off the foul poles. So I think what they're saying now is possibly that the runner at first left early, so they weren't even really looking at the home run. We didn't get a lot of information. So now I think what they're trying to say is did Agbayani leave the base before the ball was released? And she did leave early, so that was the call.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with fair foul. We were fooled again, so our streak is still intact. Very much
guys.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, it's great. It is a great atmosphere. I mean, it's a great atmosphere that this program brings to the SEC and vice versa, that they're going to get to play in when they're on the road.
She won 24 Big 12 titles, and so it's going to be hard to get it out of your bloodstream for a while. But looking at the schedule, not just for Oklahoma, but any team playing softball in the SEC, I mean, that'll wake you up real quick as to what reality is all about. I mean, it's a juggernaut every weekend.
Every single weekend. And you think about every game, but then you can dial it into every inning of every game. Every pitch of every inning is truly going to be a battle, and you've got to be on your A game. You've got to be focused and where your feet are. You hear the coaches talk about it. You've got to be that mindset of being in every single pitch of every game.
Emily Vinson leading it off for South Carolina. Left fielder fouls it back. Vinson, a transfer from Longwood. She's a senior out of Elgin, South Carolina. Hit the ball hard her first time up, but right at the left fielder, Abigail Dayton. Isabella Smith working here in the 4th inning. Ahead in the count, 0-2, and this one's lifted. Third base side, not a play. Isabella Smith trying to win her 7th straight on the season. Already has a win in this series. Came on in relief on Friday night and got the win after 3 really good innings of work. There's Jen Rocha, the pitching coach. Just missed.
Rise ball in the upper half. And one of the things that Isabella Smith does very well is she gets to 0-2 very quickly. But a lot of times you would think the advantage of being at 0-2 is a very high percentage to get the out. Smith, though, has struggled a little bit. She's given up a couple of hits, went ahead in that count. Ironically, of the 7 times, this is actually the 8th time that she went to 0-2. We'll see what happens here. But of the previous 7 times, she's only recorded 3 outs on those 7 at-bats where she went 0-2. A lot of times you think that out percentage would be up near 90%. And it really should be. A couple of mistakes that she made, obviously on the home run that went out of the yard.
She's already at her season high for pitches. Pitch number 77, whack foul.
She still is doing enough to keep South Carolina off balance. There's multiple speeds. She threw a little bit of a spinny rise ball at the top of the zone. She's got that mix in the lower half of the zone. A little bit of a curve screwball. Just very crafty. There's that changeup.
She's kept South Carolina off balance for the most part. The exception being the back-to-back home runs to start the 2nd inning. 2 runs, 6 hits for South Carolina. And that rides in, and she hits Emily Vinson, the 9-hole hitter. And now hold on.
Yeah.
Matt Dial is calling her back.
I think Dial is saying that she leaned into the pitch.
Ashley Chastain Woodard, the South Carolina head coach, wants an explanation.
Yeah, and it looks like, so she starts her swing. You can see the foot goes down. She starts to bend, but then it looks like a little bit of movement toward the path of the ball. If I am somewhat talented at reading lips, he said the call on the field is not hit by the pitch, and they're reviewing it. I think the question is a little bit of the movement as the pitch is approaching. Is she moving into it? So she looks like she's engaging in her swing, but right there it looks like she starts to move toward the ball.
The slow-mo replay, is pretty incriminating for Vincent. In real time, though, it didn't look like much happened there.
Correct, yeah. In real time, it doesn't look quite as bad, but in slow motion, it appears to be a little bit of a movement toward the ball with the body.
Isabella Smith was working ahead against Vincent. And hate to lose the 9-hole hitter to a hit by pitch here. So it's going to be upheld. Vincent called back to the plate. She will not be awarded first base.
You know, I think for pitchers, you've got to be able to throw on the inner half of the plate, and I think we have to do a better job of policing those particular types of plays.
So the count is 3-2 on Vincent. And she's still going to get first base.
Curveball in the outer half. That's out of the zone. It's elevated. And that's, you know, I would have probably replayed that too if I was coach of South Carolina, because this is a leadoff situation where you need to get that number 9 leadoff on. And you can see, look at how fired up she is. So Vincent knows. She knows that the gravity of this situation in the 9-hole, turning this over in a game where they're down, trying to scratch back in, make this a closer game here in the top of the 4th.
Back to the top of the order, and the former Sooner Lelio's going to beat it out. Quincy Lelio with an infield single.
Well, this is just using the dirt. This is kind of a no man's land where this ball is hit. Sid Sanders doesn't have a lot of opportunity to make a play on this because it's going to touch the dirt a couple times. Q has a lot of speed, and because Agbayani was way up the middle, so the second baseman is way up the middle covering, and there's no way that she's going to get to first base. So that's a really good job by Lelio to get an infield base hit.
And another hit back up the middle for Carly Shelton. Rounding third is Vincent. She is going to stop and head back to third. Great throw from Hannah Core in center. But now the bases are loaded for South Carolina, and Rihanna Rohde coming to the plate. Well, this is interesting. South Carolina got behind 5-0 in this game. It looked like the rout was on, but we said it before, comebacks have become a part of the Gamecocks' identity here in the early part of the season.
Well, they know they can swing it, and they're confident that they can put runs up on the board.
Rohde, 7 of the last 10 hits have gone for extra bases, including 5 homers.
Well, she mashed against Duke last week.
And she lines this one down the line foul.
That is just foul.
Duke had absolutely no answer for Rohde. 3 homers, 9 runs batted in the 3 games last week. First team All-American last year at Charlotte, came along with the coach to South Carolina. Looking for a big swing here that could change the feel of this game entirely.
And that's a quality pitch for Smith. Coming back to that inner half.
.22 homers last year. That one misses.
Smith doing a good job of working multiple corners. Curveball in the outer half, just a little low. That's one thing that Emmerling does very well, is steal pitches. Really does a good job of turning balls into strikes. Doesn't get that call, though.
2-2 is outside, so a full count and no place to put Rohde with Ella Chansey, the cleanup hitter, on deck.
And Matt Dial's been very consistent on that outer half, has not called that pitch low or off the plate.
Tying run at the plate. Nobody out. 3-2 pitch. Hit in the air, but out of play. Chastine Woodard told Rohde, you know, I know you were an All-American last year, but don't put the weight of this offense on your shoulders. Don't feel like you have to deliver every big hit. It relaxed her, and she has been free swinging since game 1 of the year. But she looks at strike 3. What a pitch from Smith to get out number 1.
Smith has done such a good job of working Rohde under the hands, then away with the curveball. This time she goes back out again with that curveball in the outer half. Pitch prior was fouled off in underneath the hands, and then that's a curveball in the outer half. Rohde shaking her head.
Second time that Rohde has gone down looking today against Smith. And here comes Ella Chansey now. A walk and a pop-up. Remember, South Carolina left the bases loaded back in the first inning. And, you know, if Oklahoma can do that again to the Gamecocks, get off the field with very limited damage, that would be a gut punch for South Carolina.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you've got people in scoring position, you've got to be able to plate them. I mean, that's the name of the game right now in college softball. That offense has to be proficient at putting runs up on the board. And right now, South Carolina almost looks like they're pressing a little bit. They've gotten in a couple of situations where they've had runners in scoring position where they're fouling off a lot of pitches. Instead of really squaring up the ball, a lot of foul balls. You cannot miss. When that pitch or that gift is given to you by a pitcher, you cannot miss hit it. You can't foul it off. You've got to crush it. That's one of the things that Oklahoma does so well.
No homers for Chansey, but she does have those 10 doubles, as you just saw, among the leaders in the nation. This is fouled off the front foot of the South Carolina third baseman, and she has played every inning of her career at third base for Coach Chastain Woodard. Talk about trust in a player.
100%, especially in that position. So much going on.
South Carolina 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position today. Outside, 1-2.
Oklahoma defense playing at double play depth, so with the lead, 4 runs, looking to something hard, possibly can turn a double play to get out of the inning.
Hit well to center. Going back is Core. Looking up. Gone. Home run. Grand slam. Ella Chansey. Her first of the year. And this ball game is tied up.
Boy, and it got very quiet here at Loves Field, but you're right. 4-hole hitter Ella Chansey coming up with a big grand slam. First home run of the year. Takes a pitch out of the yard. Just doing a lot of damage to knot up this game. Very similar. Both these programs know how to punch back and forth. That's an elevated rise ball. And look at the way that Chansey just gets underneath of it, barrels this up. Great effort out in center field by Hannah Core, but just runs out of real estate. And yet again, another one of those 0-2 counts that Isabella Smith was not able to close out.
All of the runs for South Carolina have been delivered via the home run. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast, how big the home run has been in this series. It certainly was on Friday night. That's been the case again here today in game 2.
Every game that I've called here at Loves Field, the ball definitely leaves the yard quickly here.
And that was quick back up the middle off the bat of Blankenship for her second hit.
Now this is second time through the order, or third time through, excuse me, the order for South Carolina, and they're definitely making adjustments off of Isabella Smith. It'll be interesting to see if Oklahoma makes a change here.
Here comes Patty Gasser.
Now we should note that Sam Landry, a lot of people are probably wondering, where is Sam Landry, the ace for Oklahoma? She is injured and unavailable this weekend.
Landry, the transfer from Louisiana Lafayette, who's had a terrific start to the year. Not available today. It sounds like the injury's not going to keep her out long, but it is a pitching change. Isabella Smith is done, at least for now. 3 1/3. And South Carolina hit her 10 times. And, of course, the 3 big home runs accounting for all of the runs. New pitcher, Peyton Monticelli, the junior out of Wisconsin. Monticelli making her 8th appearance. Hasn't pitched a ton this season for Patty Gasso. In fact, when we talked about what the pitching might look like for this weekend, we didn't talk much about Monticelli because didn't know if we'd see her, but obviously they feel the need to go to her in this situation. A tie game now with 1 on and 1 out here in the 4th.
Yeah, she's a power pitcher. She brings good energy to the circle, coach says. She'll work both sides of the plate. Her rise is her strikeout pitch, but she's that hardest thrower on the staff. She's that inning closer. They bring her in pressure situations or when they need to really try to slam the door shut, change the momentum. And so this is that type of situation where trying to get South Carolina again now off balance. She's a good look as well against Isabella Smith because Smith is a lot more spinny, moving the ball in the high 50s, low 60s, where Monticelli is going to be more in the upper 60s. And this is also a South Carolina team that does very well 2nd, 3rd, 4th time through the order. Look at that run differential. 144 runs in the 3rd through the 7th innings versus just the 1st and 2nd inning. So they're kind of in their sweet spot, Clay. Yeah.
And Lexi Winters at the plate as this one gets away from Emmerling. She has to chase. On to second base goes Blankenship. And so now the go-ahead run in scoring position for South Carolina. Peyton Monticelli has pitched just 1 inning in each of her last 2 appearances against Marshall and Kansas City. And she's off the glove of Emmerling again, and now at 3rd base is Blankenship.
So Emmerling, this is an adjustment for her as well. After catching a very spinny pitcher, it's difficult at times to increase, and get in a spot where your velocity, you're going to be able to get the glove. Now, granted, she's obviously crossed up there. She's setting up inside. The pitch goes outside. Tough adjustments for Emmerling behind the dish.
Monticelli buries her first strike, 2-1. Winters a comebacker to Smith in the circle her first time up, and then a great 8-pitch at bat that resulted in a double with 1 out in the 3rd. Swung on and missed. Now it's 2-2.
There's that high heat at the top of the zone. That's going to be the pitch that Monticelli is going to really try to hammer in.
Four hits in the series for Winters. Had 3 on Friday night. Has 1 here today, and she has driven in 5 runs in the series so far. South Carolina got down 5-0 in the first inning. Foul ground, right field, long run, and Pickering runs out of real estate. The new social media hashtag, Michelle, for South Carolina, make them believe. And, a lot of people believing now around that program with Ashley Chastain Woodard in charge. And, they're never out of a bowl game. It kind of felt like it early, the way it was going here with the crowd behind Oklahoma. Those home runs flying out of the yard. But here we are, 6-6 in the 4th. That's up and away, and now runners at the corners with 1 out.
Yeah, this is a South Carolina team that believes, they've got confidence now. They've been behind big deficits. I mean, the last one was Duke in Game 3 of that series, and just completely unfazed, confident that that offense can put a lot of runs up on the board. Abigail Knight
1 for 2 with a solo home run. Knight, a 6th-year senior in her 3rd program. Started at Boston College and went to Charlotte, and now at South Carolina. Hit deep center on the warning track. Core coming back to the infield, makes the catch. Tagging and scoring is Blankenship, and South Carolina, for the first time today, has the lead. RBI sac fly from Abigail Knight, her 19th run batted in.
Abigail Knight put a big charge into that. Looked like it potentially was going to leave the yard, but the wind blowing in now, still deep enough to get that run in.
2 down for Natalie Heath, as Oklahoma's not out of danger yet with Heath, who also has a home run. Ground ball left side, off the glove of McEnroe Marinas, and will not have the out at first. So runners at first and second. Inning carries on as South Carolina has batted around. It's an error charged to the Oklahoma third baseman.
Nellie's typically very sure-handed over there. You could see that she charged in. Ball just goes off the glove. A little bit of that bobble. She probably had time to make that throw come up. I think a little bit distracted after that ball went off of her glove.
And now meeting in the circle. Monticelli, again, she hasn't gone long in any of her appearances. Her longest outing, a 3-inning start against Abilene Christian, but usually just 1, maybe 2 innings of work.
Yeah.
I think they're just looking for her to get them out of this jam, and they'll go from there. McKnight is pinch running at first. Two and one. Lelio, a single, a strikeout, and another base hit in the 4th. So she's 2 for 3. She's on deck. Two and 2 to Vincent. Monticelli gets a much-needed strikeout, but the Sooners lose the lead. What an inning for South Carolina.
How about Ella Chanty, her first home run of the year, and it's a grand salami. That 4-run shot ties up the game, and then the Gamecocks go on to score another. They're ahead by 1.
They're top 10 in a lot of categories in the country, and you know, they were down 5-0 in this ball game, but now have the lead 7-6 as Oklahoma hits here in the bottom of the 4th. And Oklahoma has yet to lose this season, but South Carolina has them on the ropes now.
Yeah, this is a South Carolina team that's very resilient. We saw that against a really good series last weekend against a really good Duke team. They battled, you know, they got punched, they punched back, and that's really what the game of softball is nowadays, is that you cannot be comfortable scoring a 5 spot in the first inning, because a lot of times it may not be enough. This is an Oklahoma team that did the same thing in game 1. At times, South Carolina had the lead. Oklahoma came back, put some runs up on the board. South Carolina got the lead. So, I mean, this has really been a boxing match between these two clubs. Very similar, high-powered offenses, and it's tough to be in the circle.
Second at bat for Emmerling. Lined out her first time up. She draws a walk to start the 4th for Oklahoma. And now Hannah Core will come up, the number 9 hitter, followed by Dayton this inning. Now hold on, we might be getting a pinch hitter here. Here comes Patty Gasso out to talk to Matt Dial. It's going to be a pinch runner. Core is going to hit for herself, but we are going to get a pinch runner. Cheney Helton, the freshman, goes out to run for Emerald. Hannah Core, a strikeout victim, her only time up. Still making her way back from injury. Hits it to short sharply. They're going to go to second for the force and get it in time. Helton pretty quick. She is thrown out for out number 1.
It's a nice defensive play by Blankenship to Shelton. Good communication, get that lead runner. You know, this is what it's all about. It's getting lead runners when you can. It's easy to think, oh, I'm just going to go to first. The hard play is throwing back behind yourself, hoping and trusting that Shelton is going to be at second base. But that's how you win games. You got to get lead runners out.
Back to the top of the order in Dayton. Dayton hit by a pitch and a base hit. Dayton has 1 home run on the season. That came in her first at bat in a Sooner uniform. The transfer from Utah. Homered against Cal State Northridge. Beginning of the year, only her 3rd career home run. So she doesn't give you a ton of pop at the top of the order, but she knows how to find her way on.
Yeah, that's the key. On base percentage, that speed.
Runner goes. Here comes the throw, and it is in time. Great sweep tag by Blankenship. Lexi Winter's throw was a little high, but they're able to gun down Core.
Now, Hannah Core still recovering from that ankle injury. Gets a good jump, but look at Winters behind the dish. What a great scoop, really good glove work, and then the tag by Blankenship. The throw is going to take her a little bit toward the line, and she's just going to make that swipe tag, get her on the helmet before she touches the bag. Really nice defensive play for South Carolina.
Now 2 outs. The defense for South Carolina and the pitching of Neely Lamb in relief of Jory Hurd that did not go well for Hurd, her start. She was knocked out in the first inning, only retired 1 batter, and it could have gone south, but this South Carolina team has really buckled down.
Hey, they're resilient, you know, and I love what Coach told them. Like, we have a lot of outs left. They had 18 outs left specifically, and she was like, look, we use them wisely, we can get back up on the board, and that's what they've done.
And obviously scoring runs not a problem for this team. Now 16 runs in the 2 games so far here. They scored 30 in 3 games last week against a very good Duke team. Fly ball down the line and twisting foul.
Well, excuse me, if you look at both of the offenses, like we mentioned earlier, they're top 10 in on-base percentage, runs scored, slugging, batting average. I mean, Oklahoma can do that all. You flip the page over, and it's the same thing for South Carolina. On-base percentage, doubles, runs. Maybe not as many home runs, but they can get it done.
Three-two. I noticed you took your blanket off. The heat is working again in the press box. That's good.
It is good. It's been a blanket on and off type of day.
Again, in the sunshine, it's not too bad.
Beautiful.
The wind blowing in from right field a little bit. Ground ball. What a snag by Blankenship. And what a pluck at first by Rhodey. Blankenship with a terrific inning, a great sweep tag to get Helton, and then that grab and throw across the diamond for the third out.
How about Blankenship and Rhodey picking up their pitcher? When you're in the circle and you get plays like this from your defense, you know it's going to be a good inning.
Impact for Patty Gasso.
Young players making an impact, and their transfers as well making massive impacts. This is a very different looking team, but still that championship mindset. They do a lot of the same things that the team has done in the past. They can hit for power. They have more speed this year. They're going to pitch by committee. They might not have that one ace that they've had in the past, but this is a very good coaching staff. Patty Gasso knows how to get her defense in shape. Jen Rocha, one of the best, if not the best, pitching coach in the country. And JT Gasso, best hitting coach in the country. So when you put this coaching staff together with these great athletes, you're going to be a national championship contender every year.
The leadoff hitter, Lelio, thrown out. So the former Sooner is 2 for 4 today. Peyton Monticelli, the 6'1" junior from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, came out in relief last inning. Pitching coach Jen Rocha trying to settle in here. How do you anticipate her being used the rest of the day?
Well, I think they're going to take her as long as they can in this game, because remember, there's game 3 of the series coming up 40 minutes after this game. And so typically it would be 1 game a day in a series, but because of the rain yesterday, it's a doubleheader today. So it's going to affect both of these clubs' bullpens.
And who has the advantage?
That's a very good question. Knowing that Sam Landry's not available, that probably arm-wise gives a little bit of an advantage to South Carolina, but you know, both of these clubs can swing it, so I think it's an advantage offense. Offense over the pitching staffs, for sure.
2 balls, no strikes to Shelton, the second baseman for South Carolina.
The key is going to be this right here. She's behind 3-0. Is that pitchers, no matter if you're throwing in the circle for Oklahoma or South Carolina, you have to be able to work from ahead and use that defense behind you to get outs.
Shelton last year was in and out of the order for South Carolina. This year, playing every day. And the 3-1 is lined into right. Diving play by Pickering. Second diving play this weekend for the Oklahoma outfielder Cassidy Pickering.
How about Cassidy Pickering playing right field today? She plays multiple outfield positions back and forth on the corners, left field, right field, that has the ability to go into the gap and make, this looks like this is a double to the wall. A really good job of getting a jump immediately, running with both arms, using that glove arm to run to get, and then the stretch out, which is important, really stretching, getting that glove open and making the diving catch. Huge out.
Two outs now for Rhodey. We have seen better defense today from Oklahoma all around. They still do have an error on the board, but they had 3 errors on Friday night. It was what allowed South Carolina to hang around and make it close at the end. But boy, this is the kind of defense that Sooners fans have grown accustomed to around these parts.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of outstanding plays, and it really does pump up the pitchers. Monticelli is just loving that. Bayani at second base had a really good play up the middle that definitely saved a run back in the 3rd inning.
Off speed, stays high, full count. Rhodey, a couple of strikeouts looking. Both of those came against Isabella Smith. Also reached on an infield single. And draws a walk. Two-out base runner for South Carolina, leading by 1 here in the 5th. You know, there are a lot of people, I'm sure, that are still saying, well, maybe South Carolina hasn't been truly tested yet. What a feather in the cap it would be, not just to get a win against the 4-time defending national champions, but to give Oklahoma their first loss of the year.
Kind of the tit for tat. So they gave us our first loss. We want to give you your first loss. And, you know, that's really what SEC softball is. It'll be interesting to really watch this season and see how many sweeps there are of series. I think it's going to be tough to sweep a series. Every game is so important.
Chloe Lackey pinch running at first base for Rhodey. As Ella Chansey's at the plate, of course, hit that grand slam home run in the 4th inning. Tied the game up. First home run of the year for Chansey. And, you know, she has a very simple approach at the plate. She is not trying to hit balls out of the park, but she did at a great time.
A great time. Bases loaded and just got a pitch that was a mistake. It was elevated. It was right down the middle, and she got under it and drove it out of the park.
You know, generally speaking, you wouldn't put a player with that kind of approach in the cleanup spot, but I'm sure Chastain Woodard's very pleased that she did today. You know, and honestly, she hasn't tinkered with her lineup much at all this season.
At all. And that's what she said. I mean, she's like, if it's been working, I'm going to keep it. Keep it how it is.
Line drive, base hit. And that gets off the glove of Pickering all the way to the warning track. Rounding third, Lackey, she is going to score. So Pickering, who made a great catch just moments ago, boots one in right field. It leads to a South Carolina run, and it's now 8-6.
Well, and that's something you don't see very happen, as a ball go off the glove. It was actually a high hop, and it just went off the webbing of her glove. And the ball hit hard, and it just goes all the way to the wall. And with the power and the speed, Rhodey's going to come all the way around to score.
Second error for Oklahoma, and their 5th on the weekend. Here's Blankenship now, the shortstop for South Carolina. The Gamecocks now have 11 hits. Blankenship has 2 of them. Senior in her 3rd year with the Gamecocks. Off-speed pitch. 1-2. Blankenship always considered a defense-first player, but coaches have really challenged her to pick up the offense this season, and she has. This one's popped up, though, behind the bag at first. Calling for it is Agbayani, and she makes a running catch for the 3rd out. But the second error of the game for Oklahoma leads to another South Carolina run.
Yeah, and that offense getting going. They had a lot of big transfers in for them. Obviously, Jordy Ball out of Oklahoma. She's back healthy after an ACL injury last year.
Now Oklahoma down 2 now. They haven't had many deficits this year. The only unbeaten team in the country. And they're down a couple of runs as they hit here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ella Parker, Cassidy Pickering, and Nellie McEnroe Marinas, the scheduled hitters. And we talked about it, Michelle, about the Sooners. You know, They lost so many of their leaders from a season ago. They're still trying to figure out leadership roles, and they're really being challenged now. Backs up against the wall as this game is getting long in the tooth. Who's going to be the leader?
Well, I can tell you that this is what Patty Gasso wants. We've talked with her at length about the fact that she doesn't like run rule games. She wants her team to be challenged. She wants them to have to play from behind, because those are all things that help a young team win national championships, because it's, the further you go, the harder it gets.
Well, Parker with a good start to the inning for the Sooners, drawing a walk. Neely Lamb. That's her second walk in 2 innings. Pickering 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Sure, she would like a chance to redeem herself after last half inning.
Absolutely. Pickering is one of those athletes that you talked about with the leadership. She's really stepped up. Some of the senior leaders on this team are more quiet leaders. It's some of the younger athletes that really are a little more vocal, have more energy.
Five runs in the first inning for Oklahoma. They had 3 homers in that inning. 1 in the third. Just 6 total hits. They haven't really strung a lot of hits together so far in this series, because the long ball has done a lot of the talking for the Sooners.
It sure has. Majority of the runs coming off of that long ball. But you're right, we haven't really seen the base hit, bunt him over, another base hit, you score, typical type of softball that our game has been known for in the past. It's been a lot of the consecutiveness of, base hit or walk, boom, big hit, home run.
3 balls and 1 strike to Pickering. Three and 2. First weekend of SEC play for the program. Team really excited. The fans, as you can see, they're excited. They have embraced the move from the Big 12 to the SEC. Trying to stay unbeaten. And walked her. Pickering coaxes a walk. Back-to-back free passes allowed by Lamb, and we may get a visit to the circle here. As Winters calls time, and yep, here comes Chastain Woodard.
And this is where Oklahoma does a good job of knowing what they're hunting. This is a team that coming into today's game had 116 walks. One of the best programs in the country of really being selective when they're in that batter's box. And second time through going against Lamb, they know what she's throwing. They know where they're looking. They know what's her strike pitch.
Here are those numbers since coming on in relief of Jory Hurd in the first inning. 3 2/3, just the 1 earned run allowed. And she only had the 1 walk before these back-to-back walks to start the 5th. And so now the go-ahead run comes to the plate in Nellie McEnroe-Marinas.
And she had that 3-run shot in the first inning.
This is the 3-run homer back in the first for McEnroe-Marinas, but Hurd was in the circle at the time.
Yeah, that's a rise ball. She just gets underneath of it and bashes that out of the yard.
Bland pinch running at first. McEnroe-Marinas Kind of a free swinger, likes to take her hacks. She's not going to get cheated up there. Lays off that one. It's 2-1. Team now with 45 home runs on the year, among the most in the nation. Two-1 up against the mesh. Counts even. She has had multi-hit games in both games of this series. That's 9 on the year now. Trying to deliver here in the 5th inning. It wasn't fooled by that off-speed pitch.
Nelly. She's like, you can't get that past me. Look at her little smile. You cannot get that past me.
Redshirt freshman from Hawaii. It's an on-base streak of 8 straight now. 2-2 from Lamb. Rocks, fires, and this is hit a ton. High and deep. Goodbye, home run. And the Sooners go back in front.
Oh, Nelly, wow. Second 3-run bomb of the game. Marina to just swing it. Marina's just going to get all into this ball. Look at the way that she's going to get. It's almost similar to her first home run. It's elevated, it's up in the zone, and she just gets that barrel out, extends around it. Really good backside rotation that gives her power, that base from the ground up, hitting it out into the fans in the stands, and the Sooners love it. They take the lead back, up by 1 now.
3-hit day for McEnroe Marinas. She's driven in 6 today, 7 in the series. And the Sooners now lead at 9-8. We'll see if that's all for Lamb. Four home runs today for Oklahoma. 46 now on the campaign.
So much power.
And again, this was supposed to be a down year in the power category, according to the head coach, but the Sooners not having it. I mean, what a launching pad Love's Field has been this weekend. Absolutely incredible. Nothing sneaking out. It's just everything is like it's been shot out of a howitzer.
Out of a cannon. Well, and some of that could be, too, Clay, the way they build these stadiums where, there's just not a lot of wind behind because there's so much structure behind home plate. And then once that ball does get above that structure, there's just a lot of wind to help carry it out of the yard.
Well, Sam Gress has come on to pitch as Neely Lamb has made her exit. Sam Gress, a senior out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Gress had the start in game 1 of the series and was lifted after 2 innings of work. Gress started her career at North Carolina, went to Charlotte. She's going to be on both sides of the plate. She works hard. She's a hard thrower, likes to be up in that upper 60-mile-an-hour area. It's that true changeup that really helps set up everything else. And when she can really work both sides of the plate and get that run on her arm side, so that'll scooch away from lefties into righties with that changeup, with the variation in velocity, she can be tough to hit. The one nemesis that she has is she has to work from ahead. She does have a lot of free passes. That got her in a little bit of trouble in game 1. Needs to work on really trying to control these at-bats, get ahead of the Sooners, and try to roll some ground balls for her defense.
A disappointing end for Neely Lamb, who was really good in relief. When Jory Hurd ran into trouble right out of the gate, came in, settled things down, and was really fantastic until just moments ago when she wasn't. Gave up back-to-back walks and then the 3-run homer to McEnroe Marinas.
Yeah, it's always the free passes that are going to hurt you. The 3-run shot in the first inning, 2 free passes to get on base. And then the same thing here, the 2 free passes, the back-to-back walks before Nelly hits her second 3-run shot.
Gabby Garcia, solo home run. 3 hits in the series, has homered in 5 straight games. Going back to last weekend. So now Oklahoma playing from in front again here in the bottom of the 5th inning, trying to stay unbeaten, the only unbeaten team remaining in the entire country. Sam Grass delivers and misses down, 2-1. Grass, a 6th-year senior. Second appearance of the weekend. And now this also benefits Oklahoma because you talked about it earlier when we were looking ahead, thinking about the rest of the games today, earlier on, and who had the bullpen advantage. Now that Oklahoma has gotten a little bit deeper into the Gamecocks bullpen, maybe things have evened out a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I truly do feel like the offense has the advantage on a day like this. And all of these clubs know it. I mean, if you're a pitcher, or you have the ability for that arm to go in a circle, you're going to be used at some point during games. And you know, it is no longer really the day of an ace pitcher. It's typically a pitching staff. Even when you do have those ace pitchers, you've got to have multiple arms in the pen to be able to survive at the elite level. And a lot of it is just the sheer number of pitches nowadays, too, Clay, is that you see a lot more foul balls, right? A lot more pitches fouled off or, you know, put in play, and therefore a lot more pitches being thrown by those pitchers.
2-2 to Garcia. Short left field coming over toward the line. Vincent makes the catch on the gallop. And there's one down. Boy, we haven't had many routine innings today, have we?
We have not.
And we have another game coming up. About 40 minutes after the conclusion of this one, game 3 of the series. South Carolina is hoping that it's a rubber match later today. Oklahoma trying to win the series with a victory here in game 2. And again, stay unbeaten. But we talked about it. Comebacks have been the story this year for South Carolina, as you see what Sydney Sanders has done today for the Sooners. And they've got a lot of comeback wins against an impressive roster of opponents. They've beaten Virginia in comeback fashion, North Carolina, UNLV. Last weekend against Duke, they got down 4-0 in the first inning on Sunday and managed to win 12-7. And you know, we saw a similar play here today when they were down 5-0 in the first.
Yep, just able to battle back and confident with that offense. I think the big thing that South Carolina has to figure out is just keeping opposing offenses off the board a little bit more, and I think right now the pitching staff, the one area where they've struggled, the ball's going to leave the yard, you know that, but the one area they've struggled is the free passes.
And there's another one. So that's the 3rd walk of the inning by 2 different pitchers. And with 1 out and a runner on, Agbayani will come to the plate. Might be getting a pinch runner here for Sanders. Malloy is going to run for Sanders. Tia Malloy.
You recognize that name? Her sister, Kiki Malloy, played at Tennessee last year.
Quite a family.
Quite a family, the Malloys are.
A lot of family connections.
Yes.
Great athletes. And here's one for the Sooners in Agbayani. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Agbayani pitched at BYU the last couple of years, but right now, at least, it doesn't appear that Patty Gasso is going to use her in that capacity. That's the way she's playing at second base.
It's always good to have multiple tools, you know, whether or not you're a corner, you can play first or third or middle, second or short. So many opportunities to play multiple positions.
When you weren't pitching, what were you doing in college?
I was in college. I was outfield, not as much first base. We had a really good first baseman, Debbie Mobius. So, or I DP'd.
Was before specializing in one position was the fad.
Correct.
This is going to be 2. Double play for South Carolina. And they're going to hold it to a 3-run Oklahoma inning. But it's a big inning as the Sooners recapture the lead after 5.
Wow, how about McEnroe Marinas just getting this ball out of the yard? Her second.
Carolina and Oklahoma, the last 2 unbeaten teams in the entire country coming into the weekend. 35 combined hits, 36 runs scored, and 24 of the 36 runs have come via the home run.
It's been a great series to be in the batter's box, not as much in the pitcher's circle. It's it's 2 high-powered offenses just getting down.
Lexi Winters, Abigail Knight, and Natalie Heath for the Gamecocks here in the 6th as they're down again, 9-8. Peyton Monticelli continues to work. Inning and 2/3. He's given up a run on 1 hit, a couple of walks and a strikeout. Isabella Smith started this game for Oklahoma. She ran out of steam in the 4th inning. She is not going to get her 7th straight win, but I mean, especially through the first few innings, you know, there were times you could tell she had some really good stuff. It was the second time around, though, in the order that South Carolina started to time her up.
Yeah, they had a better idea what they were looking for.
That throws off the mark, but in time to get Winters. McEnroe Marinas, not a perfect throw, but you know, you got a good first baseman over there in Sydney Sanders. She'll bail you out from time to time.
Yeah, Sanders, the question is, did she stay on the bag? And so McEnroe Marinas, she's got to go back to get that. And then it looks like the throw is a little bit high, lot on it. Ooh, and it's hard to tell right there if she was able to keep the toe on it.
We'll see if we get a review. They are going to review.
And I think this is smart. Would be a leadoff of the inning. If there's 2 outs, you probably don't review it.
The ruling on the field is that the runner is out at first base. South Carolina is using their 2nd challenge to challenge a call on the field. This play is under further review.
Hey, Matt Dial's voice. We hear it for the first time.
Yeah.
We were having some mic issues early on. It's loud and clear now, though, for sure. Here's a look again. Now, it's got to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field. Is there enough there, Michelle, to say that?
I'd like to see where her foot is. On or off, she may have beaten it out. Let's see.
The call was out on the field, and
No, see, it's hard to tell with if the ball, where and when the ball is in the glove. See, the other thing, too, Lexi Winters is hitting the top of the bag instead of the front of the base. This is going to be the view right there. Just try to see.
I think they got it right.
Yeah, that is a really good stretch by Sanders.
Sid Sanders, the only returning senior. And it's plays like that veteran leadership on the field, because she's pretty quiet in the dugout. She's not a rah-rah type of player, but it's plays like that
Absolutely.
that lead the way. Call on the field was out. We'll see if it stands up for the first out of the inning.
After further review, the ruling on the field has been upheld. The runner's out. That is South Carolina's final challenge.
So South Carolina out of challenges here in the 6th inning. Down a run. So Abigail Knight comes up. Oklahoma has not trailed after 5 innings this year. It looked for a moment like they were going to, and then McEnroe Marinas did her magic again with a second 3-run homer. So here they are in the 6th, trying to protect a 1-run lead. Fooled her there.
Nice pitch. Mixing speeds. You don't always see that a lot from her, and so when it does show up, it catches everybody by surprise.
The 1-2 tonight. Pounded into the ground, and there's Sanders again making a nice play for the second out. South Carolina starting to run out of outs now. Here is Heath, who had the solo home run in the 2nd that kind of jump-started the South Carolina offense today, back-to-back with Knight, those home runs in the 2nd inning. And then they had the real big inning in the 4th when they scored 5 times. I tell you, Monticelli has really settled into a groove.
Especially when she's throwing strikes. Struggled a little bit with a couple of walks, or a walk earlier in that 5th inning, but yeah, you're right. I mean, when she's putting the ball near the zone.
Look out. Another one. Goodbye. Home run. Heath has done it again. And we're tied at 9. Boy, Monticelli, when it looked like she was cruising toward a 1-2-3 inning, Heath puts the brakes on that, leaves the yard, and we're tied at 9.
Wow, and that's we were just talking about. She looks like she's cruising, and part of that is when you're a young pitcher and you don't have as much control, you do end up making mistakes. So you get behind, or you end up getting a pitch that is in the zone that just gets clobbered, and that pitch is just a little bit too sweet. It's elevated. It's right in the cookie zone. You can just see it. It's right down the middle of the plate. So that's a mistake. Some of that lively arm that Monticelli has can come back to hurt her, and it does. Heath takes advantage. Her 2nd solo shot of the game.
Big bat Nat out of Sharpsburg, Georgia, who has taken over that designated player role in a big way. And now a pinch hitter, Emily Vinson, the 9-hole hitter, is going to be pinch hit for, and it's going to be a base hit. Flint drops it into right field. The backup catcher keeping the inning going for the Gamecocks, Maya Flint.
Wow, how about Maya Flint coming off the bench, first pitch swinging, gonna loop one into right field.
And she'll be pinch run forward. as Vinson come back and run at first base as Flint does her job. Back to the top of the South Carolina order, but here comes Patty Gasso again.
Well, and I'm sure Patty's coming out because, again, Heath's home run was an 0-2 pitch. It's a lot of those. I mean, we started off this game saying, well, what do we want to track? And I said I want to watch 1-1 counts and 0-2 pitches, because typically those are the telling points for me as a pitcher. And the 0-2, the number of hits and home runs that have gone out of the yard today have just been astronomical.
Well, Peyton Monticelli was doing fine this inning until she ran into Natalie Heath's bat again. So she comes out, and Patty Gasso makes a pitching change. Kirsten Deal, the Winston-Salem, North Carolina native. 4-0 on the season. She started game 1 this weekend. Gave up 6 runs. Only 3 were earned, but they got to her for 6 hits in 4 innings.
Deal has a lot of experience. She really has been the anchor of the bullpen. Coach Gasso talks about she's got a good curveball changeup. Her velocity is up this year from last year. She's a little bit more pitch to contact. She's not going to throw a lot of strikeouts, but when that defense is playing well behind her, she feeds a lot of good ground balls to field. So in other words, they're not just hot rocket shots at them or one hoppers. They're just nice balls that the defense can approach and make those great Oklahoma defensive plays that they typically do.
So it'll be left on left here for Deal as Lelio, her former teammate, comes up. Lelio has 2 hits today.
Kirsten Deal with that typical lefty spin movement, good curveball. It will run away from lefties.
Hit in the air, left center field. Coming over is Dayton, called off by Core, who makes the catch on the run. And that will end the inning. But South Carolina has tied it again on a solo shot by Big Bat Nat.
Big Bat Nat going yard again. Her second solo shot of the game. Natalie Heath getting it done for South Carolina. Brown and Arkansas ran into Ole Miss. That's another program that has really turned it around. You know, some of these clubs that were picked to land in the lower part of the SEC are finding themselves giving a lot of teams potentially picked to be in the upper part of the SEC a hard time.
What do you got? 2 teams from the SEC right now not ranked: Kentucky, Missouri, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is it conceivable in your estimation that everybody makes the national tournament?
It is, and it has happened in the past, and obviously the addition of Texas and Oklahoma makes it that much stronger.
But it also makes it harder to get them all.
Yeah, it does. It does make it harder because there's that many more of them. But I do think just the quality of their RPI, of their strength of schedule, you know, unless they're under 500 or they just haven't played a good preseason record or have a lot of bad losses, I think there's a good chance that they could get all 15 in.
It's been a great weekend for Isabella Emmerling. Had a pair of 2-run homers on Friday night. 0 for 1 today. Leads off the 6th inning in a tie game. Oklahoma trying to defend their undefeated record. Swung on and missed. And that's a big strikeout for Sam Grass as Emmerling goes down for the first out.
And Emmerling, one of those kids that just takes big hacks. I mean, she swings a healthy bat. She will swing and miss. Obviously, working through that ball. Pitch on the outer half. Winters is going to pick it up and apply the tag. But when Emmerling connects with the ball, it goes a long way.
Now we're going to get a pinch hitter. Sydney Barker making her first appearance of the weekend. They're calling the freshman Sid the Kid. But Patty Gasso knows she has a grown-up swing and hoping in this pinch hit situation here in the 6th inning in a tie game, she can come up big. Barker out of California, hitting .375, 3 homers and 18 runs batted in.
Yeah, how about a .958 slug?
Didn't mean to. That's strike 2. Barker had her 6 RBI game against Baylor last month. Grand slam and a 2-run shot off the foul pole. It's that kind of magic that, you know, could really get this place loud again.
Yeah, absolutely. Those long balls tend to make big statements.
Gress rocks, fires the 0-2, down and in. Barker has played short. She has been in right field, first base. She's been the designated player from time to time. There was a thought that maybe it would be a platoon situation at short with Garcia, but Garcia's pretty much locked that spot up. 2-2. But with a bat like Barker has, she's going to find a way into the lineup or into games, big situations like this.
100%. I mean, just so much talent on this team, and trying to find a spot for everybody sometimes is a challenge for coaches and the coaching staff.
Another situation where a pitcher gets ahead 2 strikes and then can't finish it off.
Can't find the out pitch. Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit today, and commercial breaks, same thing. We talk about the quickly can get to 0-2, but the hitters work back into counts.
Soft back up the middle, and it's caught by Blankenship at short. So Barker is retired after a long at bat. 2 down, back to the top of the order in Dayton.
Top of the order for the Sooners, now batting the left fielder, number 16.
Well, it's interesting, to your point, Clay, there's a lot of times I talk about, you know, 1 pitch and 2 pitch outs, to me, are gifts from the softball gods. When you can get those quick outs, it makes a big difference, but it's becoming more and more rare in the game of softball.
They've certainly been hard to come by today. Dayton hit by a pitch. Single and a ground out. To the third baseman on the bunt. Chansey, good throw across. And there is a 1-2-3 inning for Sam Gress. We go to the 7th, all tied at 9. Game that would keep you up at night.
Well, yeah, it's gonna give me nightmares, but thank God I was a hitter too, so I can appreciate being in the batter's box side of it.
15 of the 18 scored via the home run today. Hannah Core goes back into center field, no surprise there for Oklahoma, as Carly Shelton will lead it off for the Gamecocks, and she promptly delivers a base hit into center field. Carly Shelton, her second hit. And the Gamecocks are in business here in the 7th.
And situationally, this is a Gamecock team that came in hitting actually about 10 points higher against lefties than right-handed pitchers. Hit Cassidy Curd from Duke last week very well.
Ariana Rode. Rode's 1 for 3. Deal misses off the plate, a ball and a strike.
And Rode was one of those hitters that really was seeing Curd very well from that right side of the box.
Off-speed pitch lands in there for strike 2. Number 10, South Carolina. Number 1, Oklahoma. Oklahoma has not lost this season. They're 20-0, the only unbeaten team in the country. Swung on and missed, got her. Kirsten Deal.
That is an outstanding pitch. The setup on the outer half to come back in with that curveball underneath. Look at the setup. Good job by Emmerling to give her a nice target. Really good curveball moving in underneath Rode's hands, and that's a quality pitch when Kirsten Deal really needed it.
First strikeout for Deal. Came on last inning. Here's Ella Chansey, who had the grand slam home run in the 4th. Tied the game up at 6 at that point. And she smokes this one to right. Going back is Pickering. On the track, hauls it in. Trying to double up the runner, but sliding back in safely is Carly Shelton, and they're 2 away. Well, Chansey hit it hard.
She did hit it hard.
Now batting the shortstop.
Yeah, that's a big arm that's missing out of the circle for Oklahoma. Landry just transfer over from Louisiana, has had a really good year. He's worked very hard with Jen Rocha, the pitching coach, to really develop some new pitches, to really get that break going on her drop ball, and has really been a big arm for them this year.
3 balls, 1 strike to Blankenship, a career .250 hitter. But her average up to .350 this season, having a great senior campaign. 1 on, 2 out. Swung on and missed. And now the count is full. Looking ahead to the Oklahoma 7th. They're at a pretty good spot in the order. 2, 3, and 4. Parker, Pickering, and McEnroe Marinas. And remember, McEnroe Marinas has 2 3-run homers today.
McEnroe Marinas has just been so clutch with that bat.
Again, the 3-2, and again, it's fouled back. Blankenship, just a real gritty, productive at bats so far, seeing a lot of pitches, looking for the right one.
Continuing to battle, and you know, when you go back and you look at your scorecard, to play little things that make big differences. Rode striking out, unproductive out, doesn't move Shelton to second base. More importantly, though, without the runner being at second base, the outfield's probably not pulled in a little bit. That line drive that Chansey hit, could that have gotten past? All those little things make a big difference in the game of softball, and sometimes we don't always talk about them, we don't always catch them, because the ball's just been leaving the yard. The ball's just been leaving the yard, you know, in games like this, where all the scoring is coming from. But making sure that you take advantage of every out, every at-bat that you get. You've got to be productive with your outs. You've got to be able to really perform in these situations.
Inside, lost her. And a long stare down. Deal looking at home plate. But it's ball 4. 2 on, 2 out. And Lexi Winters will get a chance here in the 7th inning.
And the flip side of that as well are the number of free passes. Both sides have been quite a few today. A lot of those free passes have come around to score.
And we've seen some mistakes also at times in the field. You know, be big in this game.
Yep. Yeah, and outs, you know, getting outs, it's when you're given them, you've got to be able to take them. You know, when you're giving your opposition 4 and 5, 6 chances an inning to score, there's a good chance they are going to score. There's not many goose eggs up on the scoreboard.
Lexi Winters had the big night on Friday night. Looks at that one in the dirt. Winters went 3 for 3 with a homer and 5 ribbies Friday. 1 for 3 today. With a double off the left field wall back in the 3rd. Deals the 2-1, popped up, and that's going to spin back out of play. South Carolina today 5 for 12 with a run batted in with 2 outs.
Yeah, they've been pretty good situationally.
Two, comebacker. Deal will turn, fire to first. And Oklahoma's off the field, and they have a chance to walk it off in the 7th. Parker, Pickering, and McEnroe Marinas due up. Number 1, Oklahoma, 20-0 on the year. The only team in the country with an unblemished record. Trying to keep that string intact. As they hit here in the bottom of the 7th, tied at 9. Alongside Michelle Smith, I'm Clay Matvick. We have been treated to a dandy. A lot of offense, of course. And I know that makes your skin crawl as a former hurler, but it's been a 3-hour battle.
Bash battle.
Last win against the number 1 opponent for South Carolina, 2017. That was Florida State. Oklahoma's got Parker, Pickering, McEnroe Marinas. Parker came into the weekend leading the SEC in hitting.
Yeah, she is able to mash.
A little quiet this weekend. And she could change all of that with one big swing. 4 home runs on the year. And Patty Gasso calls her one of the finest left-handed hitters she's ever had.
Absolutely. She can elevate the ball. She can go opposite field.
It floats inside 2-1 to Ella Parker. 2, 3, and 4. 3 for 6. Couple of homers. Also walked 3 times. Upstairs, 3-1.
Good leverage count. Ella Parker, just that great pedigree. Been around the diamond sports her entire life.
Sam Grass, her 2nd walk allowed in 2 innings. And the winning run is aboard for Oklahoma.
It's the 7th free pass, if my math is correct, given up by Carolina pitchers today.
Now batting the right fielder, number 7, Cassidy Pickering.
Pickering, no stranger to late inning heroics this year. Hit that 8th inning walk-off 3-run homer to beat Bowling Green a couple of weeks ago. Hit 3 long balls last weekend against Kansas and Marshall. Swung on and missed. Good pitch. Ball and a strike. Ella Parker at first. She represents the game-winning run. Strike 2. Now, if you're Sam Gress, what are you bringing here?
I'd probably try to float something in low and use that as a setup to come back up high underneath her hands. They could go hard low.
The thing is, this Oklahoma lineup has seen quite a bit of Gress now because she pitched in game 1 and they touched her up a little bit. So she's probably not fooling too many hitters right now.
No. That's the tough part for these pitchers in this series.
1-2, again flicked foul. Cassidy Pickering out of Texas, 5'9" sophomore. Looking for her first hit of the day. She has scored a couple of runs after reaching on walks. The 1-2. It's upstairs. Oklahoma 5 in the first, 1 in the third, and 3 more in the 5th. A run here would win it. What an at-bat. This will be pitch number 9 for Pickering. And the hitter behind her, McEnroe Marinas, had a 9-pitch at-bat earlier in this game.
Yeah, they definitely know how to work deep into counts, get into leverage counts, even when they fall behind. That's what they do while they don't chase pitches out of the zone. And so if your pitches are not competitive, you're very quickly going to find yourself in hitters' counts where you're trying to just survive.
The payoff pitch. Up and in, walked her. Back-to-back walks allowed by Sam Gress. She kicks the dirt. And here comes McEnroe Marinas, as fate would have it, to the plate again with 2 runners on.
Does she do it 3 times?
Let's flash back. Let's go to the first inning with Dayton and Pickering aboard. She leaves the yard, no doubt about it, to left field. Then she came up again in the 5th with Parker and Pickering on and launched one to left center field. And now with Parker and Pickering on in front of her one more time, all she needs is a base hit, most likely, to win this game. But, you know, she does have a flair for the dramatic.
It's that slug, her slugging percentage. When she hits the ball, if she elevates anything, there's a good chance it's leaving the yard.
She'll take a strike at the knees. That is the 6th strike in 14 pitches this inning for Gress. She's missed the zone a lot. Gasso has ditched the parka. The 1-1. Good off-speed pitch at the knees. 1-2 the count.
And that's the pitch I'm surprised that Sam Gress is not using a little bit more. Even if she varies the speed on that, the location of it. She has thrown it high a little bit. It's been out of the zone. She's struggled with her control of it, but I'd keep throwing it.
Fooled her. She did throw it again. And it's strike 3 as McEnroe Marinas will have to sit down for the first time today. 1 down.
This is a big strikeout for Sam Gress. After walking 2 batters, she's going to throw back-to-back changeups. And you could just see the hesitation. McEnroe Marinas unable to barrel that up. Big strikeout for Sam Gress.
Garcia 1 for 3 with a homer. That was back in the first inning. She swings from her shoes and fouls it back to the mesh. Garcia had an opposite field 3-run homer Friday night. Homered in the first inning today to right center field. She has homered in 5 straight. The 0-1 to the gap. That's going to do it. Coming in to score is Parker, and Oklahoma stays unbeaten. Gabby Garcia with a walk-off base hit here in the 7th to win it 10-9. Same final as Friday night.
How about the freshman, Gabby Garcia? No situation too big for her. Comes up clutch. She's able to take a pitch and drive it the opposite way. It's just a smooth swing for the lefty. For a walk-off win, Oklahoma still the only undefeated team in Division I softball.
The Sooners now 21-0. And the Gamecocks suffer their 2nd straight heartbreaking defeat 10-9 here in Norman.
Screwball in the outer half. That's just a little bit elevated, and Garcia is just able to plate this. Look how smooth she is. She's going to get that ball in the gap. No opportunity whatsoever for the defense to make the play on that. And obviously with Parker at second base, she's easily going to score for that walk-off win.
Gabby Garcia, one of 8 freshmen on the roster this year for Coach Gasso, and she delivers RBIs 13 and 14 on the season here today, including the game-winning hit in the 7th inning as the Sooners get their 2nd walk-off win on the year, and they will take an unblemished record into Game 3 of this series. First 2 games